All right, continue with the previous video, Wusik Station 10 coding. So one thing I was thinking about that my widget, the knob widget, needs, it's I'm going to create this to the component, another render option. You're going to call render simple. So I have my process, maybe not render simple, process simple. Process simple. In here. So the process simple is going to call the render simple. Okay, that should do it. And just copy a bit of portion of this code here. Because I can, what's the process simple is going to do? It's going to render just what goes on top of the background. In case it's, how to say, I'm just scrolling up and down the layers. It's drawing the background, so I don't need to draw the background again. Renders faster. So if it's model, I'm not going to bother about because always going to be non-model. Set to repaint. They're simple. Wait, no, I didn't create it yet. We're going to have the render and the render simple. Okay, so now I can create a render simple override here. And now I can go to my here. When I'm drawing the layer, since I already draw the backgrounds in here, all the backgrounds and the panels and everything is in there, I can go and do a process simple instead of a process. Then it's just going to render the knob and not the background. And here my knob, the render, just going to create a render simple, which is going to render just the knob. Now the positioning should be okay here. Should work. But on the case of the layers draw here, instead of process simple, I'm just going to go and render simple because I'm always going to render. And I don't have to worry about anything else. And here on the render, I call render simple hanging for last. After I have drawn the panel and the backgrounds and stuff like that. So let's see if at first, at least the knob is rendering, because the whole rendering of the background only happens when I click on the knob and move up and down to change its value. It's going to redraw the background, the panel, for that little space, not the whole thing. Otherwise, it will just use too much resource to do that. Okay, we have a big square in here, and I'll have to figure out why. Just to be sure, because the render simple is not drawing anything else. It's probably my math for the draw part of the code that's incorrect. So let me just do just a minute. Just want to do something here on my computer quickly before I forget. This should. I'm just sending something to YouTube as a record because I'm not using the internet right now. Actually, I'm using the internet, but not for the video. That's what I intended. Uh, so okay, I have to figure out why my draw decal is not working because this is a partial decal. So let me divide everything that goes in here and see where I'm drawing in the wrong way. So I have the positioning, which I have already defined. Then I have the size, which is already defined by the positioning. Then I have my decal and the frame positioning. It should be 0 right now. And then the size of the position. Be drawing correctly. I don't know why it's drawing this white blob. But we can figure it out. So it's 0 as I expected. So let's take a look at the creation of the knob. I'm passing the image of the big knob. Decal, okay. Just in case I'm going to pass that up. And maybe usually this should work out. I don't know what's going on. Show a white blob. Interesting. Try something just to know that things are correct. Positioning. And then the call. Somewhere I'm doing something wrong. Just have to figure out what. Yeah. The image is totally blank. But why? I saw it drawing before. It seemed to be corrected. Let's check out what's going on. The skins, the default, the cached file, and I'm loaded knob C, the guy. To be correct. Maybe it's too big for the call. Seem to be. Take a look at the widget and see if I'm actually getting the value correctly. And I'm going to take a look. During loading, there it's loading. For loading. Where's the thread? There's R code. Check now on the engine what's the R codes are going to be. Fail 0, okay, 1, -1, no file. Okay, let's see as it loads all the files if it's going to be one for everyone. Be loading correctly. So go to X. So the big one is going to be 13. And let's try again. One seems to be correct. It showed out of order because there are multiple threads being running, calling that. So that's why. Now I have a place where I create. I don't remember. I look for the cached image where the calls are created. There a way. See which but want to know the ID of the decal because if it's 0 or -1, it's really not creating the in the graphics card memory. Okay, it is creating in the graphics card, but it's not drawing. The update is not required. Oh boy. Ain't that just fun? I don't know if the image is too big or whatever it is. Something is clearly not right. Ah, so what? Look at the PNG file. 5 megabytes is a large file, but I don't know. Let's see, the sprite is working at least. Otherwise, I will have to just work like that. Sprite is not working. And I kind of know why. I disabled something because I really don't want to use the sprite. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to divide the image into two or something like that. But first, let's get knob C and make it much smaller. It's smaller now. Let's see if it's going to at least draw. Yeah, it's drawing. So it is a limitation. Um, why there's such limitation? 2352. That's still inside a 16-bit value. So it's not that, but, but, but if you multiply it by the how to call that again? The color depth, that's past 16 bits. Bloody hell. So that's not going to work. Let me think what I can do. Let's say usually 64 something divided by 2, that's 16 bits signed with from minus 32 to plus 32. It's a bit over that, but just to check. So times still, still they're divided by 4. That's 8,000 pixels. So let's see what happens if I go to canvas size and go 9,000 pixels. Should be still over. It's showing. So where is the limitation? 23. Let's try 12. There must be some limitation somewhere. Because it's not on a GPU memory. Instead, it's still drawing. Because it still have a lot of memory in my to load that. Why it's crapping up? You can see it dropped just a bit because I have other stuff running on the computer for the capture device, the capture program. So my memory is around 0.6. Okay, I put try 20. Yeah, 20 already craps out. 18. I'm just testing because I'm curious. Just that. So let's see how much memory we're going to get. 0.6 is the current usage. 0.7 the actual memory. I don't understand why two values, but they're here. So let's take a look at both. There's now zero point 0.9 and 1.1, and it's not showing anymore. So the problem is something else. We're going to try something. Let's calculate. Divided by 4. 196 times 4. Okay. So that's 4 rows. Not so hard to handle. And it does load up correctly. So I'll have to investigate why it's doing this. I'm going to take a look at the code that creates everything. So let's take a look at Sprite. Nowhere the guy who created this engine says anything about limitations in the size of the image. Because on my game that I created, I use very large images. But also there, I noticed that there is some sort of limitations. Don't know what it is. Because let's see, I go with this guy here. See, we have the 4 rows here. A lot of information in the file. No, big file, a lot of stuff. Let's check if the problem. Oh, there it is. The problem is not memory consumption, but width of the image. So let's do a quick look. OpenGL image limitations. Take a look. Oh, there is a call here that I can check. So annoying. We'll have to check the size of the texture. Yeah, let's do that. Just going to put this in. update using interface. Okay, I want to check this in here. Check for the texture size, which is what the decal uses. Okay. Int, just an integer. Huh, nice. Okay. Two pixels. Let's see if this gives me any sort of help. There we go. 16384. That's the limitation. So now we know. Is this a global limitation? My graphics card limitation? Never know. Okay, what they are talking here about is 3D stuff, so really doesn't go with what I'm doing. So the only thing I'm going to worry about is this size thing. So let me store this value again. 16384. So I'm curious to know what is this? This is 16 bits unsigned. Yeah, internet's not going to help again. Uh, where they where this value came from? I just want to understand. 32768. Ah, okay. So it is a multiple of 16 bits file. Oh, there's no Control Z on the calculator. That's lame. 3277 divided by 2. Put it wrong. 32767 divided by 2. 16383. It was 384, but that's okay. It's pretty similar. So it is something based with the 16 number. It's something I will have to worry about. How am I going to handle that? The best way would be to create 4 decals and have it copy manually from the sprite. I don't know if that's possible. I have to do this manually. I have to create 4 sprites instead. Then I guess I can just divide it by 4. Then it's always going to be safe to, like I did in here. It was divided by 4, but the original file was 3. Or just divided by 2 should be enough. 3, 2. Yeah, divided by 2 is already good enough. Take a look at the B file, which is smaller. It's also over, just a bit over. And the A file, which is safe. So I'm going to leave this commented. So what I'm going to do is treat all the knobs in a way that they should be divided in 2 files. So the best way to do that is during the compilation of the file, already create that like that, but again, trying to think on something better to use. Let me check out. Perfect. Loads up. Then you there is a thread to load the images. Let's try to find where they are. So here we are. So I guess I could check in here if the file is the knobs and then do something else here. Or another option would be, I think, I have to check if I can draw one sprite to another. Who's the then swinging sprite? No, that's not going to be good. It will be very slow. It's best that when I compile the list of files, when it gets to the knob, I do that, the file already. I save it in 2 files. So find that. Here we are. Write to image stream. That's going to write my file to an image. Um, if so if it's a knob, just I'm just going to go and do something different. I'm going to divide the file into 2 files instead. that. I have my format already, so it should be easier. So we're going to create uh, each one. Can I get the width and then the height divided by 2. Let's complain about. I have to set the pixel format. Format. So GB. Oh, come on. What am I missing now? Guy. Pixel format. Okay. Clear image. True. So format to RGB. Okay. Sometimes I forget a few things because so many stuff to remember. So this will create me one image and now 2 images. And now I should be able to copy one image to another. So graphics, G, image 1, draw image at. The image to draw is going to be cached images 0, 0. So this is going to draw the first portion. And now I have to create the other ones in a bit a different way. Draw image. Now it's going to be different. Destination 0, 0. Width is get width. Destination height. Image to get height. Source is 0 and source y. Now it gets interesting. Image to get height. Source width get width. Source height get height. This should do the trick. Now I have 2 image files. But to be honest, I don't want like that. I'm going to I'm going to go with a single file, but double row, which is much easier to render. So now I have a graphics image. I draw one. I delete. And I draw the other one. Now when I draw the other one, I don't need to specify. Oh, here. Image on that. Width image. Positions show on the top. And then we just get the image 1 height. The second part. Let me go from start again. So the position in X, Y, then the destination width, the destination height, the offset, and the offset. I think this should do the trick. Now I just write this cached image instead. I'm just cleaning up the code so a bit better to read and process. So if it's any knob file, it's going to divide it by 2, and it's going to be easy to see because you just take a look at the file and it should look correctly. But now I have to redraw file. Mess up anything. Okay, let's take a look now on what happening. Okay, there's already one small problem. Oh, come. But it did render kindly correctly. Just check here the size of the whole thing. Because this height, width, height. So this destination is search X, search Y, and then the destination width. Destination width, destination height is divided by 2. And the original file, well, I'm going to go to with image 1. Get height. Maybe not the divided by the correct height. Alrighty. Let's see what's happening now. And we're only going to have problems if you have a file that's higher than that. That still don't get because the full screen files I have are very large and they load up correctly. But anyway, let's see if this is going to load correctly now. Okay, now it's very, very cool. Very cool. Oh yes, my files are high, but not anything close to 1600 pixels. That's correct. Yeah, forget what I said. It's like 300 and 200, so never mind. If this limitation is there, we need to worry about that. See now if it's going to load correctly. Yeah, it's loading correctly now. So I just have to worry about few things as I draw the widget. Back to code. So the width is always going to be divided by 2. So let's put that there already. and that should render correctly. Then the next step is to move to the skin file to add the positioning there instead. Okay, it's almost correct. It's just drawing 2 times. I don't know why. Let's take a look at the layers draw. I'm using render simple, not render. And the construction of the knob. Passing the knob. Oh, the sprite. Oh, okay, there's one mistake in here. Let's take a look at it. Sprite width, sprite width again. Don't I don't assume here the width anymore. Just have to fix one thing. That's when I calculate the total frames, it's times 2. Always times 2. And when I create in here, create the width divided by 2 and width divided by 2. Yeah, the rest is all correct now. Should show correctly. And now at least we have a very easy way to draw from the graphics card directly into the screen. And the render simple is just going to render the knob because we only call it when we use the screw wheel. So there's our knob there. And I'm going to add an option to add a temporary overlay here so I can check what are the positionings for my scheme manager. Then I can put stuff on the right place and stuff like that. So, okay, the render simple are correct. Well, the render I don't know yet. I have to check. It's only going to happen when I click on the knob. So what I'm going to do now is have my skin file populate some options in here. So what are going to be those things? Oh yes, the positioning. First thing is going to be the positioning, and then the size of the height of the frame. Everything else is set on the actual file, so that should be okay. So let's do this. Arrow, not on the editor, so I have to go to the effect, data files, skin settings, get int value. What are we going to call this? Take a quick look at the skin file. So let's call this knob big. This is what I'm doing? No, this is not what I'm doing. But we can also add that knob big frame height. 196. I already add that. But to be honest, I wish I had these another variable, because every time I'm going to update my interface, is going to check for the file, and the file checking is not the fastest thing. Can be a bit slow sometimes. So let's put this on the data files, which is only read once, depending on how many instances you have, just reads once. Really. 6 here, but I'm going to populate this big. The pen is going to be the same. And small. 42, I think. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to read this from a file. Then here instead, go data files, this guy. And then on the construction, then on the on the construction, I have to read those values. Oh, where is my there? Nothing. Read somewhere around here, let's say. Key settings get integer value. Now create big frame height. Medium. Small. Now I just have to check what's the size. So I already defined this. So don't forget A and B. B is the medium, so it's 140. It's 140. And small, I'm pretty sure is 100. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, we already have the knob size. Now we need a lot of stuff now. A lot of positionings at least. So I'm going to create, where is my data? What I'm going to create? Just going to create something very simple. List of positionings. Point. Component. Component. Positionings. That's correct. I'll just pause for so it doesn't get too long. So now I can read layer filter frequency equals point int. Then I have to read the two values. It is a lot of work. So can I call this? Layer filter frequency X. There's no comma. X and I'm just going to use one values for both things. Uh, Mistake is going to be this layer filter frequency. There, layer frequency. No, no. Get value. Come on. I hate when it does that. Key settings. Get value. Not going to do that. Okay. Up to first occurrence of comma. Include substring in the result. False. Ignore craze. To get into value. It's long, but it works. So now up to from first occurrence. Oh, up to first. So it goes the first value and then the second value. Then here we can go components. We don't need to worry about that. Editor, editor. Oh, come on. Ah, okay, okay, okay. I know. I know, I know, I know, I know. Fact, data. And I have to copy the whole thing. Okay. It's a lot of stuff, but it's better to organize now than to really have to face this later. Now I can just go and change the values in here. Okay, there we go. It's showing there. I don't know if it's in the right place. I'm going to worry about that next. But it's getting there. What I want to do now is create a knob call that's going to add the knob with more easy. So for that, create these M on the open GL thing. Oh, it's this guy. So can go like that. So I'm going to need the type. Positioning. And one thing I want to do this variable here. I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it like that instead. knob, knob's frame height instead. It's easier to pass the information when I create the other code. You know, small is 0, medium is 1, 2. Then it's knobs frame. But actually, I also have the panning. So 0, 1. Let's put in the right order so I don't get crazy. 0, 1. Because I have already in here, I think. Big knobs files here. So small, small pen, medium, medium pen, big, big pen. So it follows that order. It's much better. So what I'm going to pass then is the layers. Yeah, it's just the type of knob and the other guy. Something like that. Going to make more sense in a minute. Set Y. Knob type. You put that. Let's create that. Then I'm going to create like this. So knob big, going to be type. Oops. Then we have the positioning, component positioning, component positioning, positioning. Oh, oops. Here is going to be type minus knob. Small, I think is the lowest one. Yeah. And oh yes, we need the parameter. Oops. And we need the parameter. Overlay. Main, overlay, over top. Yeah, that looks much better actually. Because I'm going to create a lot of knobs, so that's why I need something that's much easier to use. So go type of knob. The position is the filter frequency. And break knob. Offset. The offset is this guy. And then the parameter. Yeah. That looks a bit better. I just hope it works. One thing I was thinking, maybe instead of the float value, I'm going to pass the actual parameter because it has all the information that I need. So let's change that. That's the parameter again. Parameter. Much easier than I'm going to have all the information one in one variable. Bad. Here, how to pass the parameter. Change there. Change it. Where do I pass the parameter? Here. Okay. Now I'm going to quickly do the mouse wheel code just to check out how the redrawing and everything is working. Oh, you know what to do. Planning. It's correct. Is it? The error somewhere. So many warnings. Okay. Am I? Of this file. There we go. That should do it. Fail it again. Wrong with you? Oh, of course. Parameter get. Why get value? Because sometimes the parameter is a pointer to another parameter. So get value checks that and gives the right uh, value. I have to check if I'm not mistaken. Get value also converts the value from zero whatever to 0.2 to 0 to 1.0. I have to check. Otherwise, I have to worry about the minimum and maximum values because I also have that in the parameter somewhere like on maximum Or there is a convert to minimum maximum. I have to check that later. But it should be something like that. Just going to. So right now, the mouse wheel is not going to do much, I think. It's not going to work because it's already set to the background. Here, let's forget about the mouse wheel. I have to code the mouse down function. I haven't done that. Instead, just going to create some ugly like this. Every times, every time gets redraw, it's going to move a bit. So as I move the screw bar, I don't think the screw bar is going. Oh, let's test. Yeah, it's not moving. Let me add another layer. So the screw bar is going to move. Because then I have to create. One thing I forgot is that if the it's still not crashing the way expected. Weird. But at least I can see that it's working very well. Raider Simp, the guy I'm calling. That's very. Hmm. Let's see if that's going to work. I just want to check if this it's changing something. 0 and 0. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the bottom is not moving. One divided by total frames. For frames 120. It's correct. Well, something definitely going wrong in here. Oh, I have to remember to change this code because it's just going down on the image when it has also have to go right when it goes at a some certain positioning. 0. Okay, that's weird. Shouldn't be 0. I have the total frames and that value is increasing. My math is wrong, but oh, I see what the problem is. Not total frames. Um, what's the math for that? But still return is zero. It's calculate. Not open my menu anymore. So 1 divided by 120 times 0.3. Uh, not correct at all. Okay, I think I know what the problem it is. But I'm going to take a break for today. And I'm going to take the code from Wusik station where I created a knob and check there because this is not correct. But anyway, thanks for watching again. And we're getting there. A bit slow, but we're getting there. Thanks for watching.